Today we have one item on the agenda. Since the other item was rescheduled, the one of state liability, we will deal with it in September. In September, just before we adjourn, we will deal with the state liability. So today we will be shortlisting candidates for the information regulator. I understand the long documents that has got the criteria was circulated to all the members. On the agenda. So we know the criteria. We must always ensure that we don't appoint or shortlist people who are public servants. That is one of them. People who are unrehabilitated insolvent. That is the other one. People who are not citizens of the Republic of South Africa. No member of parliament should be shortlisted. And then we must not also shortlist people who have been declared to be mentally ill or unfit by a court of law. Generally, Section 41 of the Act provides that the members of the regulators must be appropriately qualified, fit, and proper persons to be appointed to the regulator. A day before yesterday, we agreed that we will not. In fact, we will have maximum. It will be 5, so we will not pass 5. Even if we have less people, because we are dealing with one position of a part-time member. So we agreed that we would not exceed 5 members to be shortlisted, and we agreed that when we do the interviews, they will be done over a single day, not 2 days. But we still need to do the screening before we do the interviews. So having scratched that background, I would now invite any questions, comments before we start with the shortlisting or with the nominations of people to be shortlisted. Honorable Swart.
Thank you, Chair. I did raise my hand, and I appreciate your introduction. I missed. I'll give my apologies. So I missed your comments at the previous meeting when this was discussed. I just wanted clarity as to the one disqualification item in terms of Section 41G, which relates to sub 5, an office bearer or employee of any political party. I would presume that would mean an executive office bearer as well of a political party. I would just need clarity on that.
I think it means what you are saying, Honorable Swart.
Thank you, Chair, for that.
Thank you very much. Honorable Hendricks had already indicated that he has some questions that he wants to ask. I will now give Honorable Hendricks that opportunity to ask the questions.
Yeah, I just wanted, thank you, Honorable Chair. I just wanted to bring it to the attention of the committee that our Parliamentary Constituency Office has received a flood of inquiries about the data breach by Experian, which has compromised the personal information of 24 million South Africans. And I was just hoping that that will form a important part of the selection, because we need to make sure that those members serving will be able to give us peace of mind that number one is that in the performance of their duties, they will ensure that such breaches don't take place. And secondly, that punitive action must be very severe against data companies like Experian and especially the major banks. And also, it'd be nice to hear, to know their views on whether such economic activity should not be prohibited. I just felt that I would like the counsel and wisdom of the members of this portfolio committee, to address the concerns of the many complaints that our parliamentary constitutional office had as soon as it was known that this breach took place, in fact, some time ago, and is now in the public domain. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Hendricks. I do think that what you have raised, also it will form part of the questions that candidates would be asked when we do the interviews. But I think it's important that this matter be given the attention it deserves, because already another member, Honorable Mufukeng, raised this particular matter. So I think it's going to be important that the responsible portfolio committees deal with this matter urgently, because 24 million IDs that are affected pose a serious personal risk to the people concerned and to the economy of our country. So I do believe that Parliament would need to take the appropriate action, even of considering whether such a company should not be invited to appear before one of the committees that would have a line function oversight. But we do appreciate the issues you have raised, Honorable Hendricks. And I think when we interview the candidates, we would try and put those questions, the manner in which you have also raised them. So I think Christine and others who will be assisting us will have taken note of what you have raised. Thank you very much, Honorable Hendricks. Any other clarity-seeking question before we nominate?
Chair, Steve Swart, again, just very briefly.
Yes, Honorable Swart.
Chair, I just want to comment on what Mr. Hendricks has just said. I think it's a very important issue, and I do think that we might want to consider, because this is directly in the domain of the information regulator, just following what he has raised and the impact of 24 million, to request the information regulator to give us a report as to what steps she is taking to investigate this. This has occurred previously, and the information regulator gave us an update where a previous data leak took place. So it falls squarely in the domain of the information regulator, and it's something to consider that we ask for an update, because I'm sure that she will be instituting an investigation. This is a clear breach of the Protection of Personal Information Act. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Swart. I think we should do that on an urgent basis, because I think people are quite worried about this. We don't know, maybe your ID or my ID has been affected, we do not know, so we will deal with this matter as a matter of urgency. Thank you very much, honorable members. Are there any further questions on the process now, on the process that we are about to embark on? None. So can we start with the shortlisting process? I've already outlined the criteria that is going to be used. Just in addition, is that we have a committee. Let me, for the purposes of this meeting, let me say we have a committee of 5. That is the members of the regulator. We have the chair and 4 other members. Of the 5, we have 3 that are full-time, and then 2 that are part-time. And if we include Professor Tanya, we had 3 females and 2 males. With the resignation of Professor Tanya, with the vacancy that we have 2 females and 2 males, and all of them with law degrees, currently those that we have with law degrees. So can I now open for nomination, or yes, for nomination of members to be shortlisted? I have Honorable Breitenbach. I'm not sure whether you are greeting me or you are raising your hand.
I'm raising my hand.
Okay. So I have Honorable Breitenbach, I have Honorable Ngola, I have Honorable Swart, in that order.
Chair.
Or I've got Honorable Velma Nivot Dragens, and then I've also Honorable Horn, in that order. Can we start with Honorable Breitenbach?
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Bearing in mind the point raised by Honourable Hendricks, which I think was an important point, and having had cognizance of the CVs, I think we should try and appoint somebody who has a lot of experience with regards to ICT and personal information protection. So I nominate Professor Justine Limpert-Law, who has the relevant and required experience. And I nominate Professor Alison Gilwald, who also has the required experience.
So as Professor Justin and Professor Gilwald nominated by Honorable Breitenbach. Honorable Ngola.
Thank you, Chair. In the same spirit of well-qualified candidates with adequate experience, and I would like to nominate Ms. Alison Chile.
Ms. Alison
Chile and Ms. Katleho Dolamo. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ngola. So we have 4 names. We have Ms. Professor Justin Lipston, Professor Gilward, Ms. Alison Chile, and Ms. Katle Hotolamo. Any further nominations?
Chair Steve Swart, I had the 2 names of Professor Alison Gilward and Professor Justine Lipston as well, so I second those nominations. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Honorable Werner Horn.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Maybe just for the sake of procedure, it's Professor Justine Limpert-Law, not Lipsich or whatever, but it's fine. I wanted to propose that we also add Dr. Pritish Dala. It is quite clear from his application and CV that he also has the relevant qualifications and experience.
So it's Professor Limpert-Law. Yes, yes, okay, thank you. So we add Dr. Pritish Dala. Honorable Nivot Dragens.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning, Chair, again. My apologies, I had a question. I wasn't ready in the nomination process. The person who resigned, whose position we're filling, I just wanted to get her experience to know what we are filling in the regulator. And I would just like to say I support the nominations that Honorable Ngola has already put forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think in the document that was circulated, a brief CV of Professor Tanya was circulated. She was a professor of law. She was a researcher. She specializes in intellectual property law. That was briefly her areas of expertise. Thank you very much. Are there any further nominations? Bearing in mind that we have already reached our 5 as per our decision, but I must ask, are there any further nominations? So we have the following nominations that have been seconded. Professor Justin let's say Professor Justin, Professor Alison Gilwald, Ms. Alison Chile, Ms. Katleho Delamo, and Dr. Pritish Dala. That represents the nominations that members have made. Those are the members that we would be interviewing, but firstly, they are going to be subjected to a screening process. The day before yesterday, Ms. Silkstone explained the process. It is not going to be different from the process of the Deputy Public Protector, where the names of and the CVs of the people that have been selected here now are going to be out there for public comments. We are going to be giving the public 2 weeks to make those comments, and that will also assist us when we do the interviews. If anything comes out of those public comments, we can raise it with the candidates. So, honorable members, I think that we would be communicating the date for the screening when we will start with the screening. Then thereafter we would communicate dates for the interviews. Are we all happy with the process, members?
Yes.
Very happy.
Chairperson.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chair.
Yes, Honorable Mfuke.
I think I'm happy with the process, but I just want us to remember the observation that I made with the public protector is that our questions, as we asked them, they were public, and some of the candidates that came after, they had an advantage over the other because some members will repeat their question, and that will sometimes be something that we forget. And the other one that comes in has corrected that, especially that it was over 2 days. But I'm saying that we should also be mindful that we must have a variety of questions, a lot of them, and try not to repeat to one person unless we find that we want that answer to be, we want an answer from one of the candidates. That was my observation on that.
Okay. Okay. But I think one of the advantage for this one is that we will be having it over 1 day, unlike the previous one, which was over 2 days. But we take note of what you have raised, Honorable Member. Are there any comments, further comments?
Chair,
Mona?
I think what Honorable Fukeng is raising is very important. Because even if it's 1 day, one of them may be watching on at the back. So maybe I think we must find a way, Chair, of having I'm not sure as per time if we'll be able to conduct the interview in the parliamentary precinct or we're going to conduct it virtually. Because if we're to conduct it in the parliamentary precinct, it would have been easy because we would have created 2 rooms where others await in the other room while so are dealing with someone. So we don't create a process where the others or else we do a set of questions where we're saying for the first round, these are the questions, for the second round, these are the questions, for the third round, these are the questions. Just maybe the Secretariat would help us in terms of thinking an innovative way of ensuring that we don't allow the unfair advantage of other candidates over others. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Mola. Honorable Swart.
Chair, I want to support the previous speaker in the sense that it has been discussed in the whips and with the speaker in the programming that Parliament should start returning to normal as far as possible with due health protocols in place. So there is space for us to meet as a committee physically. Will be less than the required 50 members. So it is something for us to consider as well. And that would then be able to ensure that the interviewees are maybe put in a separate room, which will not then enable that unfair advantage. And we would then not have to have a virtual meeting, but that is for the committee to decide. Chair, I just put it as a supporting of the one proposal of Mr. Nkwala.
Okay. I don't think that it would need a postponement. I think let's agree that we will have it. The interviews will be done physically, not virtually, so that we take into consideration the concerns that have been raised, and then we have the 2 rooms that would ensure that when we interview one member, others would be in the other room, where they will not have access to TVs and any other thing that would put them in an unfair advantage over the others. Do we agree, honorable members?
Yes, Chair.
Good. Thank you very much. Are there any other issues that we might have overlooked before we adjourn?
Chairperson.
Oh, Honorable Mohammed.
Yeah, sorry, my apologies, Chairperson. I had technical problems this morning. I only came right now. My apologies for only switching in now.
Okay. No problem. We will brief you about what we have discussed. Yes. Honorable members, I think that brings us to the end of the meeting. And thank you very much, honorable members. Honorable Swart, have you raised your hand?
I've lowered my hand. Thank you, Chair. My apologies. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we have come to the end of the meeting. Thank you very much, honorable members. You would be advised after all these processes have ensued, when are we going to meet for the interviews and the outcome of the screening. So we'll meet to get a report on the outcome of the screening, and then also the date of the interviews. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Chair.
Chairperson. Chair.
Hello.
Can you maybe stay behind with the admin team so that we can discuss on few issues?
Okay. Thank you very much, honorable members. Can we get the space to discuss some issues?
Chair, should I leave?
No, I think because you're part of the management, you should not.
Right, sure. Sorry about that. They could only get I've been struggling for all half an hour now, but it seems the admin didn't load my gadgets. And then I went to another gadget and And that one asked me for a new password. I don't know why. I couldn't enter.
That is the problem with technology. When it betrays you big time.
And then eventually the IT people came, got me going just now.
Okay.
But I was on the phone with the committee.
Sure.
Yeah, just on this one, the issue of on the interviews. There are two possibilities. Members can have the interviews in Parliament, or we can identify a central venue, like in Joburg, where I think most members of the committees are. And then we can secure a venue there with 2 rooms where the candidates will also converge, and then we conduct the interviews there. So yeah, I think that is maybe just one issue that we can explore. I think some committees are like, the previous weeks, that is how some committees were operating. They were meeting around the airport to conduct interviews.
No, that would be fine, but I think we must also check the candidates themselves, that most of them are from where.
Yeah.
Because we must ultimately have the least cost-effective process. Because I think in our committee already you have quite a number from Cape Town. You have Honorable Mohammed, Honorable Janji, Honorable Glennis Breitenbach, Honorable Nevot Drachens. So out of 11, already you have 4.
I think Nicola might also be
possibly Nicola. So I think let's do an exercise and also and look at also the convenience for the other candidates, because I think most of them would be from Gauteng, except I think Till is from Cape Town.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah.
5? Is it 5 candidates, Jay?
5 candidates, yes.
Okay.
It's 5 candidates. Gilwald, Professor Gilwald, I'm not sure. I think it's from UCT. No?
Gauteng.
Justice. I think the candidates most will be this side, which is, I think those are some of the things. I think we must do a cost-benefit analysis. Yeah.
Yeah. But if it's there, would it be at the airport?
Yes, we can
Hotel
have it
at the airport.
We can have it at the airport. It's much more convenient for those who would want to
fly in.
To fly in, yes.
And then, in terms of next week's program, we had, I think we scheduled a briefing on one of the gender-based violence legislation. The criminal law sexual offences one has been introduced. So we will be
the only one that came through.
No, the others I saw draft GR 159, but the criminal law one, it is a final bill that has been introduced.
ATC.
Yeah.
But I guess there's nothing wrong, but there's nothing stopping us from getting briefings, because already we have the bills for information. Because I think getting a briefing will also allow us a situation where we are able to send them off so that we can start with the process of public comments.
Yeah, but we cannot consider a draft and then request public comments. Just in case maybe there are some changes to the draft as introduced. Then
But-
we'll have to re-advertise it. But then at the same time, there's nothing stopping us from having an informal briefing on them.
Yeah, no, I think because we do not have time, I think let's have that briefing. Let's have that briefing. I know the cannabis bill also has been formally introduced. I think it was yesterday. So I think let's have that bill briefing. Because I think what will happen, I think in the next few days, we will receive them. So I think let's work on Tuesday getting a briefing on all the three GBV legislation, because the manner in which these things are being managed, I mean, the executive has really put us on a very tight program already. And then maybe when we come back, I would suggest a whip that we also have a briefing before we adjourn on the cannabis.
Yes.
Because if we don't, then they will be saying, why are you not prioritizing a constitutional court deadline bill and then prioritizing the one that does not have a constitutional court deadline? So I think if we maybe if I think we are adjourning on the 4th, that Friday of the 4th, maybe we can deal with the briefing on the cannabis.
That's, yeah, that will be the following week.
That will be, yes. So on Tuesday, I think we deal with the three, whether formally whether we will deal with one bill at a time and finish it and then we go to the next bill, or how are we going to manage the process? Because if we take one bill at a time, then we might finish them